Hey, Scott Jordan here for Jancast number 208 for Thursday, March 5th, 2026. And we've got an interesting show for you today. As you know, some of you that follow us listen to our Sunday Sales Blast that we publish each week. We're really into AI and how that can help our business. It's done various things as far as we run formulations through AI. We do all kinds of marketing stuff through AI. It's just amazing what can happen utilizing all this new technology. So one of the things we wanted to talk about today is kind of an interesting thing that I've done in the past using AI to help the Jancast show kind of be built. This time I'm going to have the AI talk about. Well, first off, I asked the ChatGPT, can you name four of the top things that are going on now in the commercial cleaning industry that I should be reporting on? And it came back with four pretty clear things, one of which I don't 100% agree on. But then I asked the AI to kind of report on those things. And then after that, it created another video, which you'll see in a second. Then I had another AI review the work of the original AI that produced the video you're now going to see. But so the four technologies we're talking about are the four things that are going to be changing the cleaning industry is technology and data-driven cleaning is reshaping service delivery. Now, what they're talking about there, and we've reported on it previously, with AI being used for programming auto scrubbers and stuff. So one of the ideas is you have the AI auto scrubber doing the floors and other stuff that an AI-driven piece of equipment can do. Then you have a person that can actually do the touch surfaces part. So that makes a lot of sense. The second one is sustainability and green cleaning standards are moving from trend to baseline. I'm not 100% sure that this is true in the commercial cleaning industry. We have products that are listed with Green Seal as well as products that are listed with Safer Choice. Both programs are very expensive. We just paid the Green Seal one for two products. It's $8,000. So you got to have some justification for that expense, but we're not seeing a whole lot of people that are actually specifying green products. If you can get a green product without any additional cost, yes, but if we have to pay fees like Safer Choice and Green Seal, that kind of makes it problematic. So we're not seeing the movement in the ordering that our customers are doing, going heavily towards green. In fact, if anything, it's kind of an afterthought. The third one is workforce challenges and changing labor dynamics. This one's really interesting because back in the day, pre-pandemic, there was a thing called day cleaning. And at that time, day cleaning was instead of having a workforce come in and clean at night, and they don't have any idea what went on, they'd bring them in during the day and clean around the people that are actually working in the environment, which is a good thing and a bad thing. In this case, they're talking about actually changing. They found that the best thing to do is clean immediately after something has occurred in a particular room, be it a meeting with 20, 30, 40 people. The goal at that point with using AI and being able to schedule things is you clean right away, right after that facility or that area is used, and then close it down so it doesn't have to get cleaned again. And then the last one is health-driven hygiene and infection prevention. This one's kind of a no-brainer in that I would hope by now we all know how to disinfect properly, that you have to dilute it as it's specified on the label, and then you also have to allow for proper dwell time. And I hope everybody knows what dwell time is. But so those are the four, and let's hear how the AIs, since there's two of them, kind of went after this project.
Hey, Jancast listeners, and welcome to a special briefing for our upcoming episode 708. Look, the commercial cleaning industry, it's going through a massive transformation right now. And it's not just one thing. It's more like a perfect storm, right? Four powerful forces are colliding and just reshaping everything, from how we do our jobs day to day to our long-term strategies. So, all right, let's dive in and break this whole thing down.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. We've got these four major forces. We'll start with the tech revolution. That's a big one. Then we'll shift gears and talk about the new green standard. After that, we'll get into something we all know well, the people puzzle. And finally, we're going to wrap it all up with the one thing that's really driving everything, the health imperative.
All right, first up, the tech revolution. This is really all about a massive shift away from cleaning just because it's Tuesday, away from the calendar. We're moving toward cleaning based on actual data, on real-world need. And that right there is a fundamental change in philosophy.
And the real power here, it isn't just one piece of tech. It's how all of this stuff works together. I mean, we're seeing autonomous floor scrubbers everywhere. That's your robotics, right? You've got AI helping to figure out the smartest routes and schedules. Then you have sensor systems, maybe in restrooms or busy hallways, that are literally telling us when a space needs service. And holding it all together, it's data analytics. That's what gives you the proof, the insights, to do the job better, smarter, and way more efficiently. So that leads us to this really crucial idea, data-driven cleaning. It's basically about moving from just-in-case cleaning to just-in-time cleaning. Think about it. Instead of cleaning a conference room 3 times a day, whether anyone used it or not, you clean it right after it's been used. This isn't just some small tweak, It's a complete rethinking of how we deliver our services.
And this comparison here, man, it just perfectly illustrates the difference. The old way, the routine schedule, it was often super inefficient and honestly hard to prove you even did the work right. But this new data-backed model, it lets you optimize your staff, sending people where they are actually needed, and this is huge, it gives you clear, objective, proof-of-service reports for your clients. That builds trust. It demonstrates your value in a way you just couldn't before.
Okay, let's switch gears and move to our second force, and you'll see how this all starts to connect. We're talking about the green standard. Being green isn't some niche thing anymore. It's not a nice to have. It has become the baseline expectation for your clients, for your employees, for pretty much everyone in a building.
So, what does this green standard actually look like in practice? Well, it's a whole mix of things. Yeah, it means using eco-friendly products, for sure, but it also means having smart strategies to reduce your overall waste. It means looking for those trusted third-party certifications, like Green Seal or EPA Safer Choice, to prove you're doing what you say you're doing. And more, it means a huge focus on something we can't even see, but we definitely feel: indoor air quality. And look, this push isn't just happening in a vacuum. It's being driven by some really key factors. Your clients, they're demanding it in their RFPs. Big corporations are trying to align their cleaning programs with their larger ESG goals. That's environmental, social, and governance. And of course, there's just this growing understanding that sustainable practices, especially when it comes to air quality, are directly tied to the health and well-being of every single person in that building.
That brings us to our third major force, and honestly, this might be the most complex one of them all: the people puzzle. This is all about navigating the new, and let's be real, often really difficult labor dynamics our industry is facing.
The pressures here are just intense, and they're coming from every direction. I mean, high turnover has always been a challenge, right? But now it's paired with these massive labor shortages. And what happens then? It naturally leads to increased wage pressure, which really squeezes your profitability. And as if that's not enough, on top of all that, with all this new tech we're talking about, there's a growing need for workers with more advanced skills to actually manage these new tools. But hey, the industry isn't just sitting on its hands. We're seeing a really clear strategic response. First, a real investment in training programs to upskill the workforce. Second, deploying tools that don't replace people but actually make them way more productive. And third, integrating automation specifically to support the staff, to take over those really repetitive, physically brutal tasks. And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the most successful mindset. Automation as augmentation, not replacement. The goal is to build up your people, not get rid of them. Think of it this way. A robotic floor scrubber frees up a cleaning professional to focus on the important stuff: high-touch disinfecting, detail work, quality control. It elevates their role. It makes them more valuable, not obsolete. Okay, so we've looked at tech, we've looked at sustainability, and we've talked about labor. But there is one single powerful force that is speeding all of this up, giving it all a sense of urgency and purpose, and that force is health. And that brings us to our final section, the health imperative. The heightened global focus on health and hygiene has now become the ultimate driver, the thing that ties everything we've just talked about together. Just think about it for a second. Why are we investing in all this data-driven tech? Well, it's to prove and ensure we're creating a healthier, safer space. Why is indoor air quality suddenly a key part of the green cleaning conversation? Because of health. Why do we need a better trained, more professional workforce? So they can properly execute advanced infection prevention and control strategies. You see, the new standard of clean is the new standard of health. So there you have it. That's the landscape we're in. A collision of technology, sustainability, labor dynamics, and health. They're all interconnected, right?
Each one is pushing and pulling on the others. And this leads us to the final critical question that I'm going to leave with you. As these powerful forces keep merging and evolving, which one do you think will ultimately define the next decade of the cleaning industry? Welcome to our Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into how the commercial cleaning industry is being completely reinvented. Seriously, forget what you think you know about mops and buckets. We're talking about a massive shift, one that's being driven by data, sustainability, and a whole new focus on health.
So, let's just start with a really simple question for you. Is your definition of clean totally outdated? Because what was considered top of the line just a few years ago, well now, that's barely the price of admission. The whole game has changed.
All right, so today we're going to break down 4 key trends that are completely transforming the industry. And to help us do that, I'm joined by 2 special AI co-hosts who are going to help us unpack all of this.
First up, we've got Logos, who's here to give us the what, the hard data, the tech, the facts. And then we have Kairos, who's going to explore the why, the real strategic impact and the bigger picture behind all these changes. Between the two of them, we should get a pretty complete view.
Let's kick things off with our first major trend: data, not just dirt. This is all about how cleaning is shifting from just a routine schedule to a truly intelligent, on-demand service.
So, let's start with the tech itself. Logos. What's the data telling us here? The data really points to 3 main technologies making a huge impact. First, you've got robotics. Think autonomous floor scrubbers. Second is AI, which is analyzing building traffic to actually predict where cleaning is needed. And third, you have smart sensor systems in things like dispensers and trash cans that give real-time updates. Okay, so that's the what. Kairos, let's talk about the why. What does it actually mean in the real world when your building can literally talk to you?
Exactly. Look, this isn't about shiny new gadgets. It's about solving real business problems. How do you bring in robots without losing that critical human touch for quality control? And how do you prove the return on investment for these smart sensors to a client who might be a little skeptical? It all boils down to a brand new era of accountability, where data becomes that hard proof of service that clients are absolutely demanding now. And, that demand for proof leads us right into our second trend, the green standard. What used to be a kind of nice-to-have, niche thing is now the absolute baseline. It's just expected. So what do we even mean by green cleaning these days? Logos? Well, green cleaning isn't just a vague idea. It's a defined industry standard. It means you're using certified eco-friendly products, you have waste reduction programs in place, and you're following health-focused certifications like Green Seal or EPA Safer Choice. It's a measurable, verifiable approach. So, Kairos, what's really pushing this change? It's not just about everyone wanting to do the right thing, is it? Oh, not at all. This is being driven by very real business pressures. About 40% of the push is coming from corporate ESG, environmental, social, and governance goals. Another 35% is from direct client demands. And this is key. 25% is tied to a growing focus on indoor air quality. That's what directly connects the idea of green with the tangible result of healthy.
And of course, none of this cool tech or these green initiatives can happen without people, which brings us to a really critical topic: rethinking the workforce. So Logos, lay it out for us. What's the labor situation really like on the ground? The data shows 3 major headwinds that just won't go away. We're seeing incredibly high turnover rates, ongoing labor shortages, and pretty significant upward pressure on wages. And these factors are consistently hitting the bottom line for pretty much all operators.
Yeah, that sounds like a tough spot to be in. So how are companies dealing with this, Kairos? They're getting strategic about it. To combat that high turnover, the smartest companies are really investing in training and creating actual career paths for their people. And to handle the wage pressure, they're not just trying to cut costs. Instead, they're investing in productivity tools and automation to empower their teams to get more done, more efficiently.
And this really gets at a crucial shift in thinking. The strategic goal here is automation as augmentation, not replacement. It's about letting a robot handle, say, 20,000 square feet of open hallway, so a skilled human technician can focus on the high-touch surfaces, detailed disinfecting, and making sure the quality is there. It's all about making the job better, not just getting rid of it. That focus on high-touch surfaces brings us to our final trend, and really, this is the one that ties everything else together: cleaning for health. This has become the new North Star for the entire industry.
So Logos, what's the core data point that's driving this big shift?
Well, post-pandemic, our awareness of pathogens and airborne threats is still at an all-time high. This has totally shifted occupant health from being just a side concern to a primary driver of facility budgets. And that means we're seeing sustained investment in infection prevention and air quality monitoring tech.
All right, Kairos, bring it all home for us. How do all these trends come together to create a totally new model for cleaning? They build a new, interconnected framework, what you could call the 4 pillars of modern cleaning. First, it has to be data-driven for both efficiency and proof. Second, it has to be sustainable to meet both corporate and health expectations. Third, the workforce must be human-augmented to be productive and truly effective. And finally, all of this serves one new non-negotiable goal: creating a verifiably health-focused environment.
Which really just leaves us with one last thought to chew on. The lines between facilities, technology, and health, they're all blurring into one. So the question isn't just, is it clean anymore? It's something much bigger. When your building can literally think for itself, how are you going to prove that it's healthy?